Hello, everybody, and welcome back as always.
Hi.
I'm pulling a train thing.
Remy being Remy. But besides Remy being Remy, if everyone has not noticed, we have a returning guest. You've never seen him before, but you have heard him on several episodes. Jason,
You've heard
welcome
my voice
back.
in the past. Hi. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming back.
As usual, Jay, backstories. I love backstories. That's kind of my thing. You reached out to me. You wanted to come back on because you are still experimenting with psychedelics, and you wanted to share some of your experiences that you've shared with Remy, but not me. But the floor is yours.
Yes. Hi. Yeah. We, after talking with Remy and talking about my previous frustrations.
Yeah. Well, hurdles. How about hurdles?
Yeah. Hurdles with opening my mind with psychedelics. I went on a 8-gram lemon tech that I thought in the moment was not very significant, but after processing, after thinking about what you're going through, and I reached out to Remy a couple weeks
back.
You need help with your car.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go take care of that tire and shit.
You were my hero.
And while just talking in the car, we kind of broke down a lot of like what happened to me during my last trip.
May I ask you a question, Jay?
Yes.
So I know you said you went on an 8-gram journey.
Yes.
What can you kind of give us an explanation of what your typical gram intake was, or what you were building up to? How
Can
the
I
process
actually?
was?
Is it okay if I interject for just a second?
Please.
How about before we even do that, you remind people a little bit of what made you want to take them?
Oh, very good. Thank you, Rem.
No problem.
I don't know.
I mean, the
Besides-
veteran thing is interesting,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, being a veteran, in the moment, that really wasn't a contributing factor.
yeah.
And we've talked about this in the past, and like I don't my veteran status and my military history doesn't define me as a person, so I don't use that with a lot of weight.
Okay.
I think a better angle, and I'm sorry, Jay, but I think a better angle is, because you and I have talked about this, a lot of it is mental health driven, regardless of status.
Everything,
Yeah.
all of this is, yeah.
I remember when you were speaking to me, you had talked about how one goal you have is you have been on medications.
Yep.
And you want to get off medications.
Yes.
Or decrease or get off.
And successfully since talking last, I'm no longer on any sort of mental health drugs.
Well,
now, we're not saying that that's for everybody as a blanket.
Right. It's not a
as a goal. Congratulations.
Yes. And Jay, the wonderful thing about this sound pad, you get a little applause for that. Literally a little applause. Because I don't know where the volume went.
I guess the reasoning why to consume psychedelics is just to expand my mind, see what's out there. I've done a lot of reading, done a lot of research on my own about what psychedelics are, the history behind them, the religious uses of them. I don't know. I'm just looking to see the cosmos. I'm looking to see what's beyond. Like there's a lot beyond what we can see in our own atmosphere.
If my father were with us right now, my father would probably bring up the Moody Blues in Search of the Lost Chord album, because it's like, like that, what's beyond.
Right.
What's
beyond what I can
singularity?
see? Like just because I can't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And, for you, I think it's been interesting because we had talked on here about taking heroic doses, which means a large dose of mushrooms and taking them a certain way, empty stomach, et cetera, et cetera. But you'd come to a point where you felt like there was a little bit of a
roadblock. And after this last heroic trip of 8 grams lemon tech.
And tell people what that means, by the way.
So lemon teching is a process of converting the psilocybin to psilocybin prior to ingesting it. So your stomach has stomach acid in it, right? And lemon juice is an acid. So the lemon juice breaks down the psilocybin to psilocybin. So you don't get as nauseous. You don't get, each time I've taken mushrooms, it's been through lemon tech. or microdosing.
I do this. I do it the same way.
So, and it's a quicker onset, and you get through your trip a little quicker.
Yep.
It's not like an 8-10 hour.
And so any nauseous or anything? Like
yes, yeah. I still got nauseous.
8 grams is a lot.
Well, I mean, yeah. Besides the 8 grams, like on a typical, as you've been dosing up, do you get nausea when you do the lemon teching, or
I would still get a bout of nausea. It'd probably last maybe a half hour until.
how intense?
I didn't throw up.
Well,
Was it like my mouth salivating like I was going to throw up? No.
okay.
It's just lower. It's just upper GI kind of.
That's a good way you put that. I put that as the pre vomit.
Yeah.
I always call that like pre vomit prep.
Yeah.
Like the vomit like the vomit salve.
Well, a woman's vagina lubes itself up for sex.
Wow.
And our mouths lose themselves up when we're going to throw up.
So the mind can have an expansive journey.
Yes. So after taking it, I didn't get any sort of visuals, really much at all. Besides in my own mind, I couldn't see visuals. I could see visual in my notebook. I wrote, I could see music, but not in a linear fashion.
Explain that
makes
to Bob.
sense. Please go on.
It was like a cone of music. I don't know. What's the word when you take psychedelics and it's just you can't put things to words?
Well, I don't know the exact term, but that's kind of the fun of it, because you know what you mean by that, and you know exactly what that means. But articulating that for other people who aren't in the experience can be really difficult.
Jay, is this like the stereotypical way people like way back when in REM being like, I could see sounds and I could
taste colors.
Colors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you can't really process into words what you're experiencing. I could see like a little bit of like, was it light refraction when your hands going?
Can I say something real quick too? Because they have no reference point. Okay. 8 grams is a massive amount of mushrooms to take. Okay.
And that's why it gets the phrase heroic dose.
Yeah. Because for a lot of people, you're literally arm wrestling with God. You're elsewhere. And so what's interesting about his story is like, so let's say you wanted to mildly trip. We'll give them a reference point.
I was going to say, because the only time I have taken psychedelics, it was 2.5 grams.
I was about to say 2 grams.
2.5 grams for me. I was at a party. The party had a projection TV. For you youngsters, you don't have any fucking idea what I'm talking about. It's basically a TV that's the size of a wall. But for me, the only kind of thing that was like altered reality that I experienced is at some point it gave me a sensation like I was at a movie theater and someone was pulling the curtains back.
And that's a normal introductory dose. And then, people will take an 1/8, which is 3.4. That's usually what people will do next. And that's significantly stronger. Our heroic dose can be 5 to 7 grams dried and taken kind of on a fast too. So, you're just getting that in your stomach. So I have to tell people the fact that this dude.
Please don't walk in the door taking 8 grams lemon.
No,
please do not. Because that's the definition of having a bad trip.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where everything the government has told us.
Yes.
That's where those stories come from.
That's like, please don't.
No,
please don't.
It's a crazy dose, and I'm the one who told him to take that exact dose.
And when he said that, it's like, man, that's a lot.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm scared, and I said, you should be.
I laughed when he texted me that. Like, I'm a little scared. He's like, you fucking should be.
Yeah, the people who aren't are weirder, in my opinion. But you need to understand that his story for 8 grams is not a typical 8 gram story. You did have a mild experience for that amount of mushrooms.
Right.
And so I don't want people to be like, oh, I can take 8. No. If any of you take 8 grams of mushrooms, you're going to be arm wrestling with God, pissing your pants, and then waking up wanting to change your name. It's going to be too much.
Right.
Would it be fair to say that, comparatively speaking, for an 8 gram experience, that it was mild, probably because of how frequently you take it, how you've been dosing up, or is it just
good
more
questions?
Or is it just more of a, it just shit happens sometimes?
We think we get to the bottom of it, but you're going to get there.
We'll get there.
Okay.
So I consume the lemon juice, and I'm sitting on the front porch. I'm just like watching. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. It's 6 o'clock in the evening because I didn't really want to take it too late. I wanted to sleep, and so I'm watching the front porch and I'm watching the birds take dirt baths, and colors are amplified, brightness is amplified. I was like, and I started getting a little queasy in my stomach, and I was like, I'm gonna go lay down. So I lay down and I put headphones on. I put on my old Norse
Viking chants.
Yeah.
Oh, that's I like that. That's dope.
It's dope, dude.
Yeah. I'm jealous.
It's
kind of embarrassing a little bit, but
There's nothing to be embarrassed about.
I thought it was cool.
So I'm laying there and I'm listening to music, and the music's kind of irrelevant to, well, it's always relevant, but just in this particular story, I guess it isn't. So I'm laying there and I start feeling a feeling of ascension, like just my body like not my body rising, my
spirit rising out of your body, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I'm rising. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And in my mind, it's dark, but it's like I'm in a space. I'm in a space. Am I in space? No, I'm in a space. It's dark and I can like see the boundaries of the space. And the outside of the space is kind of like glittery, let's call it. And I don't know if it was my own imagination kind of spurling, or if I could see because I couldn't like see what I was doing, but I was rising a staircase. It was cold, it was stone. And I get to the top of the staircase and I don't hear it. It's in my mind. Like
almost like a telekinesis or like ESP, like that.
I don't know. I could just, a voice spoke.
Was it more like you were sensing
Something
of a voice?
like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So a voice spoke. You're not ready yet. He didn't say yet. You are not ready.
So I'm going to turn to the camera so when we do the video for this, so everyone can see my face. Like, because I don't know, did you see the look on my face? That just struck me as very profound.
Mm.
That would have me, if I were in your shoes having that kind of experience, that probably would have had me literally on my knees.
Yeah.
Like just to be like, wow.
For him, I think it was, but yes, I am.
Yeah.
That's what I think it was, because that in itself.
What the fuck you talking about?
But he's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's an incredibly profound moment of the trip, but it wasn't what you wanted to hear.
Right.
So at the time, I think there was a part of you that got maybe mentally defensive.
And that would have happened to me
because
next.
because after that little episode, I immediately came back.
You were denied entrance to the club, bro, so you got back in your car.
I was like, what else am I going to do?
What are you going to do? And that was interesting. See, I think for you, that was the pivot point.
Yeah.
That was the point that we got to work off of and say, okay, there's something going on here. Now, what is it? Who's guarding the door, or why is the door being guarded? That's what has to be asked at that point.
Right.
Continue, though.
So after that, the trip was, I had bouts of giddiness, but I couldn't get sad. I remember like thinking about sad things and not being able to cry or be sad about them. I felt like disassociation. I was confused. Thoughts coming in like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I do this? What's wrong with me?
And that's the worst. Those are the worst ones we entertain, but they happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, feelings of sadness, can't cry. Feeling of happiness. I would laugh at certain points, but like overall, like I should be happy about this thought and not really. So I bounted that as like disassociate. That was the next word. Disassociation.
May I momentarily stop you? Just because I want to, so for everyone who didn't see, I mean, Jay has a journal. It's a very lovely journal. I do want to ask you, was this during or was this kind of post?
This was post.
Recap.
It was the end of the trip.
Oh, okay. So you're back to some level of being lucid. Yeah. I'll use that word, lucid. And so when Jay was coming out of it, he just wanted to start jotting things down so that he could remember.
And I also had Caitlin write her observations.
You made this very scientific. I love that.
This is what the pros do. So, and they've got this somewhat figured out.
There's no knock on my part, Jay, because this is the stuff that. So where this started, if people haven't seen the episode, is it started when you brought to my attention How to Change Your Mind on Netflix.
Yes.
And how we are trying to bring science to the level of psychedelics and other kind of drugs that have a bad rap. And what the scientists are they're trying to prove that there are medicinal benefits, spiritual benefits. There are benefits. These things are positives.
Yeah.
And that's great because part of that scientific thing is Jay and with a supportive spouse aiding you in this.
Very
Sorry, continue.
She's the goddamn she's the best. Generally confused. Why? A lot of self-doubt. And the only thing that I could really tie myself back was the only thing I did know is I love Caitlin, and I just kept telling her.
Now let me ask you one quick question. What was your most prolific psychedelic experience before this one?
They've all been so dull.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to. This was the most profound.
Okay.
This is the most profound, and I can't really pinpoint another one. And I don't. This is the first time taking notes.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing I can really go back on.
Fair enough.
So, Caitlin and I were, she was doing some research online during my trip of one of the things could be ego block. Like it's your own ego. And what's an ego?
Our sense of self,
our own consciousness.
I would say, yeah. The way I've always interpreted it through school or through my working is that our ego is what we're conscious of.
Right.
And it depends on who you follow. If you follow Freud, it is the primal part of our being.
Mm-hmm.
Our ego keeps that in check, and our superego keeps both of them in check.
Right.
So, but how I interpret the ego is that connection we have to reality that we are consciously aware of.
So your ego is also a survival mechanism,
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So it keeps you from
freaking out or experiencing something that'll be too much.
Right.
Yep.
So your ego is definitely going to protect your brain, and that's what I thought was going on. Was my own ego gripping onto the steering wheel. I was like, nah, bud, we're not doing none of this. Like, this is, you're going to lose your fucking mind.
Was that scary to you when you were shut out? Was there any part of you that felt
just pissed, like frustrated,
Yeah.
like why? Like, why can't I do this? And a lot of Caitlin's notes are like, you're tripping harder than you think you are.
That's a good way.
Which I 100% agree with.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I guess fast forward to a couple weeks later when I picked up Remy to go fix his flat tire. We're talking about this. He's reading through my notes. He's reading through Caitlin's notes. And he brings up something about his father. And then I immediately go into emotions.
Yeah, and it was so interesting because we're trying to figure it out, and we're approaching it from like 20 different angles. What could this be? Why could this be? How could this be? And then, for whatever reason, I brought up something that was personal to me, and he immediately resonated with it intensely, though, to the point where you didn't realize how intensely that resonation was until it was pointed out to you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was crying multiple different occasions during that car ride.
Jay, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but like the conversation as you were talking about that, if I were in that role of having that kind of journey, I would hope at some point at the end of somewhere on that journey or at the end of my journey is an experience where I get to see my dad again or talk to my dad again. And I'm sitting here trying not to battle the emotions of that because I know that it would be a momentary thing.
And I'm going to get to that too.
Okay, good.
So we start talking about our dads. And up to this point, I know in my mind, I knew I haven't processed the death of my father.
No.
Me being a 13-year-old boy. And then all of these feelings, these are all feelings that I had as a 13-year-old boy. Disassociation, stress in my chest, having to take deep breaths, confused. What's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? These are all things that happened to me as 13. I was reliving my shit as a 13-year-old boy at that particular time, and I didn't even realize it until talking to Remy. And what I've kind of come to the conclusion is my father's never left me. I can talk to my dad whenever I want to. You can talk to your dad whenever you want to.
And I do. I do.
And like we don't we don't have to miss them.
You ever feel him?
Yeah.
Because I do. I feel
Now
I feel
that I
my
just
dad.
fucking realized, he's fucking with me. How do you think you survived? Like, I'm 39 years old.
Mhm.
How do you think I survived all the stupid shit that I did throughout my entire life?
For real, though.
Joining the Marine Corps at 18, going to Iraq twice, having one failed marriage. So did he.
But
And
see,
then-
you
and then-
start realizing
And then realizing he's still with me.
Mhm.
He's with me in my conscious. He's with me with my ego. I don't know.
yes.
If I could, because I do feel similar to you. Because like for me, it's when I find that I'm doing things. Because I've always had this thought. And I've talked to Rem, I've talked to you. I've been very candid with anybody who wants to hear it. Like my father he was an alpha's alpha, but he wasn't like a rah puff your chest out alpha. He was just that's who he was a guy. He didn't have to let you know he was he felt like he was the top shit in the room.
Yeah, he had the biggest dick in the room, but he didn't need to tell.
But
anybody.
he didn't let
Yeah.
you know that. But there were times where it would come out.
Right.
And I don't mean like that, but I mean there are times because I've never felt like, well, I'm not like my dad. That's not my personality. Now other people have said, well, you don't give yourself enough credit. There's moments where you're wild like your dad. There's like that, but I don't focus on that. But there's times where like I do things like, like an adult, like the way my dad would do them, and I'll catch myself going,
There he is.
there he is.
Yeah.
There's Tom. There's Tom being with me right now.
He's still with you. Like he's helping you. And my father helped me.
My dad's right now. I've been going through some shit, and I talk to that dude every day.
Yep. There are times I can feel him sitting next to me in my car as I'm driving.
Yeah.
And usually it's like if I'm listening to ZLX, if I'm listening to classic rock, or I put the Moody Blues on,
Yeah.
I know he's right there. And he's probably being like, could you play this song instead? Like, and I'll be like,
But what you're aware of, you not necessarily were aware of
Yeah.
because you didn't look at
I
it.
thought I
long
was
enough.
like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I really need my dad right now. Like, I really, it's like, fuck, I just need to talk to him. I need to, like, why, it's one certain tribulation in my life at a particular moment. Like, he's been here the entire time helping me along.
Yeah.
So going from that point, I feel like I needed to have a discussion with my father about control and about boundaries. Because it could have been him kind of holding on too tight, providing too much protection. And him being from a generation where it was like he was born in 42.
Boomer.
So
he's a boomer.
yeah,
And drugs are for
actually, no,
losers.
he's not a boomer. He was
No, he is. He is.
prior to boomer.
No, he is. 1940 to 1965 or 1962. Or 19,
Oh, I thought
that's
it
how they
was
roughly
once-
do it.
Yeah,
But that's
okay.
but one reason it's why like there's
Yeah.
nothing there's no such thing as a zennial. It's just I'm just trying to narrow down the demographic
Yeah.
of people. And that's why, because like you and I are on the cusp of Gen X, but we're early millennials.
Right.
I don't know about you. I never felt like a fucking millennial,
Yeah.
but that's because of where we are. Your dad's same boat. He's on the greatest generation and boomers.
Right.
That's where your dad.
So, and then a lot of the propaganda during the time was anti-everything.
Reefer madness.
Reefer madness. So I can understand why he would be apprehensive about, since he's with me, he's like, I don't want to take that shit.
I got to protect my kid.
Yeah.
Listen here, what you doing there? Taking the wacky tobacco.
So I wrote, and I'm not going to read through the letter.
Yeah, that's none of our business.
That's your
But,
personal. That you
but
you do
I,
what you're comfortable with, and if
I-
you're not, that's fine.
I wrote him a letter just saying hi for the first time since being 13.
That must have been incredibly powerful
Yeah, it was.
and difficult a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of like got to some points where I just kind of stopped and like, what the fuck? And like, what am I? But yeah, I got through a couple pages and I felt really good about it at the end.
I wouldn't even ask to read that because you know what's fucking wild right now is after my dad, it's probably like 3 or 4 months after my dad died, my mom found a letter he wrote to his dad when his dad died,
Yeah,
and she gave it to me and I read it. And I mean, let's be honest, 4 months after he died, that's still raw.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
I just fucking turned into a puddle, like reading that. So I wouldn't even, because I'll probably turn into a puddle here if I.
And I think another
that.
thing relevant to what we're talking about too, I think that, talking to your dad is huge, but I also think that there's a part of you that had you tripped harder, that death would have hit you differently.
Yeah.
And I think
you needed
to face it.
I needed to process this in a safer space.
Mm-hmm. That's
If-
what I believe. I believe that him keeping you safe is also you keeping you safe, but it was also because if that suddenly hit you in the middle of an 8-gram trip, it would be a lot. It would be a
It'd
lot.
be too much.
Yeah.
Could-
Well,
could
100%.
be
You'd never
too
trip
much.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd hate it.
Yeah, who knows
Yeah.
what
Because
could have happened.
here's the thing about a good trip. 8 hours feels like 3 hours. Here's the thing about a bad trip. 8 hours feels like 3 months.
Right.
That's the thing. And that's all, time is relative. That's what
Mhm.
the whole saying is about. But
And from just what I've experienced through what you've kind of steered me towards and what Rem you've steered me towards is that when you use especially psychedelics in a therapeutic manner for therapy or spiritualness, these are great things. That's not a bad thing. Like
No.
being told
no, well said.
not ready. No, it's just a go back to the drawing board and come back,
And
come back with something.
They didn't have to, they didn't say never. They didn't say this isn't for you. Not ready is not ready. And then that gave you an opportunity because when I first talked to you, you were incredibly frustrated.
Yep.
And that's when it becomes incredibly counterintuitive because then it's almost like a guy who wants to get a boner but can't.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? He wants to fuck, but because of that, he can't fuck. So I think that it becomes this sort of self-fulfilling thing. And I'll tell you, man, like we talked and there was genuine emotion. Like you, even in that moment was kind of a breakthrough for you.
Yeah.
Because you were like, holy shit, the most important and glaring thing that ever happened to me, I wasn't looking at in terms of this, you know, and that's what made it make sense. And it was just me randomly saying to him, my life sucks right now. And I would do anything to talk to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were like, my dad. And then we just had that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really cool. And I'm glad I shared it with you.
Shout out to all 3 of our dads.
Yep. Shout out to Ron.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tom. Shout out to Dick.
And Dick.
Yeah.
Tom, Dick, and Harry, baby.
Yeah.
But honestly, yeah, because, you know, look how we're doing, guys. We turned out all right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because of you guys. But, and I think as corny as this is going to sound too, you have a better relationship with your dad now
Yeah.
as a result
Yeah,
of that.
I don't feel like abandoned.
No. And he doesn't either. Because you know what I'm saying? 'Cause it's hard for a kid. What the fuck is a 13-year-old supposed to do with the greatest loss of their life? I went through it at 44 and it fucking destroyed me. So how do you do it at 13? So what you do is you compartmentalize it so that you can survive and grow
Yep.
into a normal
Just-
adult.
Mhm.
Just stick that into a box and put it away, and
Yeah.
no need to address it.
Oh yeah, just do what we always do as men.
Yep.
Or what
Stuff it down.
or
Well,
sadly what society conditions us
Tells
to
us
be
to
like
do.
or tells us to do.
we were 2 dudes hugging in tears at a fucking tire warehouse. There's no bullshit. Is there a word of bullshit in there?
Nope, that's not a word of bullshit.
Sorry for the dip with my laugh, but
No,
that was good. That was like that's what I like about that is yeah, it's comical, but who fucking cares where it happens?
That's it. That's
the
why
whole
I
point
said
is
I was
that
like,
it happens.
because I saw
Yeah.
him, I was like, bro, give me a hug. You're good. Because a lot of shit suddenly hit him. And then in that moment, it opened kind of a floodgate like, no shit. I've been talking to him, but I haven't talked to him.
Yeah.
I've been talking to him, but I haven't sat down and said, yo, because I had that. I had that 2 weeks ago with my dad. I'm like, listen, man, I just need an assist. That's what you used to do. That's what you were good at. And then I got a job interview.
Mhm.
So like, it's interesting how much that is in every day of every moment of our lives,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
you know? But yeah,
So this theory hasn't been tested yet,
which is
I don't-
good.
and I don't know if I take another 8. I don't know if I take another 8 grams. Is it because of my body, or is it something else?
I do have a question before we kind of because I think Rem, that's a good question for you. But before this, what was the most you've ever taken?
5.
Okay. And I was going to ask, was it like
No,
6?
that's-
Was it like 7? Was there a slow
it
build
was
up?
it was 5. I've taken shrooms a lot now. I took a 5-gram dose. I then took a 5, and then it really wasn't doing anything that I knew about. So I took another 2. So I took 7 overall. One particular trip, and then this last one was 8 grams.
And I
Okay.
think
Thank you.
it's smart too to catch your breath for a minute between.
Yeah, I haven't microdosed. I'm not really all that good with scheduling medication,
Yeah.
but I haven't been microdosing. Just I guess to have a good cool off period.
Yeah, I think it's smart. I think it's going to make the next experience more pronounced too,
Yeah.
you know, for a multitude of reasons.
But in general, I would go a month between having a significant.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
dose.
Giving yourself a break. Like a month break between like
A month break between
really,
yeah,
really, all right, let's bring the ante up a little bit.
right.
And all that affects it, you know, all that does.
And trying to schedule around having children in the house, like we
And
try-
wife and work.
yeah, life and work, and like, does this particular Saturday work?
The opportunity will present itself to you.
Yeah, it will, and I know it will. So yeah, when the next trip happens, it happens, and it'll probably be 8 grams.
Yeah, he wants
Interesting.
and the heroic dose things is to give people some backstory. The idea is to take a ton, obviously, and then you put yourself in a dark room and you just let the ghosts tell you what they want to tell you.
Right.
That's what it is, you know?
Mhm.
And that's why they call it heroic, because, you know, a trip can be 8 to 10 hours. It can be an intense ride, you know? But yeah, I think that the way you've approached everything has been really intelligent. You do it very thoroughly, taking the notes, all that shit. And hey, man, the whole dead dad thing, I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
It's not easy to come to those realizations and to face that stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And being able to talk about it without crying is fun.
Awesome, right?
Yeah.
But that's progress.
Right. That's
Because we were both super emotional talking about it. And I was wondering how it would be today for that reason.
Yeah.
Now, I would have no problem shedding tears on this show because this is our safe
Mhm.
fucking place. We're allowed to do that, you know?
Yeah.
But it just shows the growth that you've had with it in terms of facing it.
So all in all, my trips have been more profound than I think they've been.
I agree with her on that. You're the reason you think they're not is because you have an expectation, and what we need to do for you is pull that out.
Yeah.
And if you think
And
about it from a perception standpoint, you're in it.
Exactly.
You are the vessel.
But
That
she spends all that time with you, and she's aware you're tripping harder than you think you are. But you're not, because you're looking for something specific to tell you that.
Right.
Whether it's a particular hallucination or something. And that's when what you said about physiology, yes, we can become our own blocks for that. I 100% believe that.
Mhm.
I think that we can psych ourselves out.
Exactly. I'm trying to find some funny comments that I made. Long saga about the fan. You spoke like you were reading from a book. When I recommended on your interesting choice of words and storyline, you told me that's how the cats write their
I
sagas.
remember when you told me that line.
And when you said the
Related-
fan, are you talking about
Like a
an
ceiling fan.
Okay,
Like a ceiling fan. I can't remember the
And did you
narration that I
mean
was-
actual cats or like jazzy dudes?
No,
Like,
cats. Like
awesome.
felines. Yeah.
Yeah. See, you're tripping then.
Yeah.
That's not a sober sentence, my dude.
I've made similar sober sentences.
Okay, I'm crazy too, so I'm right there with you.
I
but
can. I've known both of you long enough to agree with both of your sentiments there. Yeah.
Fair
And
enough.
Caitlin does expound. To be fair, this is something you might have said sober.
There you go. That's how you know you got the right one, brother.
Yeah, she's cool. Said, I love you a lot, and sadly, and felt like you were waiting for it to happen in the entire trip. You seemed overall disappointed with your experience, but I thought you got some good insights.
So is that going to be your like documentation? Is this what
Yeah,
the book will be for?
yeah, it's. I got some other weird Norse shit in here too. But
Overall, is it a therapeutic? It's a therapeutic aid.
yes.
Well, perfectly fine. That, and I just wanted, just for
Yeah.
clarification. Just was
Anybody who
curious.
carries a journal is doing something right, as far as I'm concerned. That's
And
how I feel.
looking to
it's-
explore inside, as far
and
as I'm
it's,
concerned.
and it's leather bound.
Right?
I
And you
saw
can-
that, and that was one thing that caught my mind. Yes.
I'm convinced it's filled with the world's secrets. Every time you left the car, I read a new chapter.
So, Jay, I know you've talked about you're now off medications.
I am entirely, yes.
How do you feel?
I think that's great.
I feel really
That's
good.
great.
Not that we're telling people to get off your
No.
medications.
Yeah.
We're not anti-medication. For
No.
him, it
I
was
was-
becoming too much.
And after realizing it, I was on an antidepressant for like 14 years.
Wow.
10 years. at least 10 years.
When people say trips get rid of their depression,
And I
people
thought-
say trips clear out the
Yeah.
cobwebs.
And
They
I thought
do.
4.
And every trip that I did take, I did feel like the next day, just cobwebs being shaken off.
Yeah.
Just
Yep.
getting rid of the junk in there, the plaque, the whatever.
Blowing the dust off the top of the bureau.
Now Remy
Right.
Remy can talk for me here, but like when I got off the medications, it was when I started using a CPAP machine, and that because I started feeling these benefits of actually not waking up, whether I consciously was aware of it or not, throughout the night.
And
actually
dying. Right. Dying in
yeah,
your sleep.
yeah, dying for a minute in your sleep,
Yeah.
no big deal. I started having number one more energy. I started having these things, and then I started coming off, and then I was off the meds. And then Rem was doing a lot of check-ins with me because he's like, it's almost like you're manic. And I was like, but that doesn't make sense. I've never been manic. I've always been just depressed.
Mhm.
And he goes, but it could be a rebound of your, like, physiologically of your body. Like your body
Yeah.
is deprived of serotonin. So now it's goes into overdrive because you've
Well,
removed
that
it.
is-
And
that-
on top of
That is a thing. That's
You're get-
serotonin sickness.
on top of that, you're getting the amount of serotonin you need now because you're sleeping and your brain is like resetting itself.
Bob gets just like me though. I get intense. Bob will be the first one to tell me, and Bob gets intense sometimes.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know this.
Mm.
But yeah, there was a particular stint, and I was like, just checking on you, homie, because that you do with me. When I was
It's
fucking,
true.
my
It's
life's
fair.
been a mess. You'll hit me
It's
up
fair.
once a week and be like, "You still alive, homie?" You're like, "Yep, thanks, man."
Mhm. But the good thing is for me, it's, and you could probably have seen it, it's leveled out.
Oh, 100%.
It's leveled out. It was like a spike and then
Yeah.
leveled out. And,
Right, because your your serotonin receptors were
Fucked
now
up.
being
What's called fucked
now being allowed to absorb serotonin
Yeah.
Yeah.
and kick it. And if they don't, if they don't, they kick it
They
back and
produce
take it
it.
back again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you're now your body's actually working the way it's supposed to, and it's weird.
Yeah, and there are people, nowadays, mushrooms and MDMA are being studied for working better as an antidepressant than antidepressants, and so people are taking it upon themselves to heal themselves.
Because these medicines are actually fixing the issues in your brain.
Inside, yep, they're not
Not-
just making you high to forget the issues or whatever, or not putting
right.
something on top of it.
Jay, did you ever see the guy who kind of narrated and hosted How You Change Your Mind?
Yes.
The older guy, and he's an author, and I do forget his name, and I apologize. He was a part of another thing that was on Netflix, Magical Mushrooms. Did you ever watch that?
I did not.
Ooh, you should.
Yeah.
You should. You know why? It's not so much about
Oh, it's science.
it's about science. It's about like the science of
mushrooms are brilliant, dude.
It's about and what we have found is that when they're in the wild and they're attached to trees or plants,
Oh yeah, there are communication systems
underground, they
between-
create a neural
Network.
network for everything. And they don't just communicate, they share nutrients among plants and everything. And so that's why I bring that up too for everybody too, because if they're doing that for nature, what are they doing for our minds?
Well, no, and here's
We
the
all
And
thing.
this
care
isn't,
about.
and I don't want to brush over that very quickly. Like this isn't anecdotal evidence. There's science behind this.
There
There's
is.
science.
The mushroom network that goes under the United States is more connected and more complex than the United States train system.
Facts.
They've compared a map of the train system over to how the networks they create, and it's like we're idiots, and they just
And look what they've done with mushrooms or with fungi of any kind in laboratories, where they overlay it over like transit systems, and not only will it quickly map it out,
It'll
it
adapt.
makes it more efficient. It
Yeah.
shows ways it can be more efficient. This is nature working, and these are
Yeah.
things. This just shows they're not dangerous
and
things.
I've boiled ground mushrooms, and I have pictures of this on my phone. And so you're talking about all dust, right?
Mhm.
Not connected in any way. Put them in the pan, let them slow boil for like an hour and a half. They'll reconnect. So when I go back, it will be one mass with honeycomb shapes missing throughout it. But all the mushrooms will reconnect into one thing. It's fucking nuts, dude. And I think lion's mane, golden mane, there are a bunch of different kinds people use now for brain health. And I think people are just waking up to the fact that we've had the best medicines the whole time, right under
Yeah.
our feet.
the
And-
entire time.
And
Yep.
you know, for medicinal purposes now, it's been legalized in Rhode Island, right?
Has it?
Yeah, it happened. I think like a month and a half ago.
Rhode Island?
For medicinal purposes. Yeah,
Nah.
yeah. I heard about it. You guys can look it up. I heard it on the radio.
I thought it was Colorado.
No, Colorado did that years ago. Like this
Oh.
happened this year. That
Wow.
Rhode Island made it for medicinal purposes. Like it's okay.
So
Like,
but there's still a process.
yeah, like similar to cannabis. You'd
Yeah,
have
and
to
how
get
do
a
you-
medicinal card. You'd have to
where do you get medicinal mushrooms legally?
That would be a good question.
Let's look into that.
Mm.
So that just goes to show very slowly that it's working its way around.
Yeah, it is working its way around. And Remy mentioned MDMA. MDMA is still on the cusp of.
Listen,
being-
MDMA, of all the episodes, that's the one I focus on, because what that MTV doc did for MDMA
Took it back 20 years.
took it back to the Stone Age.
Did you ever see it?
No.
So it's like this young teenage girl, she's raving, all this, and this doctor who was anti-MDMA brought her in, and he showed her what was an MRI image of her brain with
that was
holes in it.
the Phil Donahue.
Yeah, and the guy was on that.
Yeah.
And then literally, like, it took 6 years, but then they said the guy's a fraud, fuck him.
Yep.
He was purposely misleading with that. And that was talked about in the How to Change
Yep.
Your Mind episode. But what I love about that is we're using MDMA for people with post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic stress is something that exists much more everywhere than we know. And not just with like veterans, because they were showing with the veteran, but the guy who saw his mom get murdered,
Right.
and how he was basically on a trip with 2 therapists with him.
Mhm.
And that to me was like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
That
Well,
is
I
so
told
awesome.
you, and just to bring this up, I actually told my theory to you is that maybe therapeutically you should consider MDMA next before your next mushroom trip. I had mentioned that to you
You did.
just because I think one could soften the other.
Mm.
I think that if part of what's been the block is that you've been a little bit emotionally afraid to face some stuff,
Then MDMA is the thing that's going to open that door.
I think that MDMA initially would drop that
Mhm.
wall even more for you. So it's just something for you to consider, because again, I can speak to proponents of both of them, and they're remarkable what they can do.
And that one's the next one on the come. Like if we're starting to get to a point where psilocybin is getting medicinally legalized,
MDMA is right behind it.
Right behind it.
Yep.
Mhm.
So, but it's just a matter of, like you said, a lot of what today was about was just being self-aware and realizing that we're all probably more fucked up than we think we are.
Mhm.
Yeah, we definitely are.
You know, because we go there and it's like, no, everything's good, and then you and I just had a moment and we were both like, duh, because it made so much sense.
Right.
But it was easy to oversee. And who
Why
would have
would you
even
want it?
thought, if I just hadn't randomly told you I wanted to talk to my dad, we would have never gotten that conversation.
No.
So it was just, I feel like that was my dad.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. Both our dads were
We're hanging out.
also in the back seat of that car.
Yeah, I'm like, look at these 2 fuck ups. But aren't they great though? Aren't they great?
These fuckers over here.
Hey, look at these fucking guys, huh? But thank you for coming and sharing, man. Like,
Yeah.
Thank you as always, Jay.
and we said
you're
last time we're gonna have you on for your heroic dose. We did. We're gonna have you on for your breakthrough trip. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to talking about that with you, man.
Absolutely.
Yep. No matter how you get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the fact you get there.
It's a journey. There's really no rush.
That's it, man. That's a great way to approach it too. Just be gentle with yourselves, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a theme Remy brings up all the time on the show. Be gentle with yourself.
Yeah. You're doing all right.
Thank you very much, Jay.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks
Until
for
the
having
next
me.
time,
Yep.
when we know you'll definitely be telling us about it. And for everyone else, thank you for stopping by. Take
Love
care.
you guys.